Hey guys, it's Hallie and Lauren. We're the Mile High Property Sisters. Welcome back to our channel. Today we're going to go over what it takes to buy land and potentially build a home here in the Colorado mountains on raw land. So we know it's everyone's dream to build a house in the mountains, get, a lot, kind of like the one we're standing on, with trees and your own, forest.
Start fresh, have your own home design.
Yes, it's everyone's dream.
Sounds grand.
So we want to tell you just a little bit about what goes into that, though, because it is not as easy as it sounds. There's a lot of things that you have to think about. So for instance, we are standing on this 10-acre lot is currently for sale for like $425,000. But you also have to think about when you buy land, if you're going to build a house on it, there's a lot of extra costs that come into that. You need a septic system because there's, we're in the mountains here. There's no sewer lines.
Right.
So you have a septic system, septic tanks, which, that's where all your wastewater essentially goes instead of going into sewers.
Right.
That's expensive. They have to dig big holes, do the leach field, the whole thing. Then you also need to get water on the property. So you need to dig a well. Most mountain properties are not on any kind of city water systems. There's some places in Evergreen or, maybe if you like in Conifer Central, you have to dig a well. And wells around here in the mountains, depending on where they find the pockets of water, can be anywhere from 100 feet deep to 2,000 feet deep. And they charge you like $25 to $65 per foot. So if you
do the math,
if you're digging a well, and it depends on like how much rock they have to go through. We are in the Rocky Mountains. There's a lot of rock. So the more rock that they have to drill through, the more expensive it costs. And like I said, they charge per foot, and you have no control over, the water's, it's in the earth. You can't move it. You just have to find it. So if you have to dig down 2,000 feet, you have to dig down 2,000 feet. There's no other option. So something to think about before you buy land, making sure you can find the water. And then you also, before you dig a well, you have to apply for a well permit through the county. And not that that's hard to do, but it's government work and it takes a long time. It can take 8 months to a year to get granted a well permit. So something else to think about, and that's something you want to make sure that you research, that the property, you can get a well permit on the property before you buy the land. It obviously has a big effect on value, like who's going to buy land if you can't get water to it. And then the third thing you need to think about is power lines. So power lines are obviously not connected because this is a raw piece of land. They charge you per power line, like per pole. This lot's actually nice because there's power lines literally right here. So it'd be fairly inexpensive to connect to these power lines. But if you were buying land that's further out, further away from other neighbors or power lines, you're going to be charged per pole to get power to your property. So we say to budget anywhere from like it's a really good day if you can get well, septic, and power for like $80,000 to your property.
And that's a good day.
Yeah, I would say that's the cheapest. You're really looking, 80 to 150 grand on top of the price of the land. So that's something, to think about. And the other thing about buying land is not all banks will finance them. So you can't get like a mortgage, or you have to go, typically it's only local banks that will give you a loan for raw land. And you have to have 20 to 30% down payment on land. So just know that you're gonna have to have a lot of money saved up for these things in order to build. And like I said, what I was talking about, that's 120 grand before you like dig a hole for your foundation. Nothing else. Doesn't cost building materials, none of that. So
pricier than you'd think.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Moral of the story.
Yes. But we're going to show you around this lot. Like I said, it's 10 acres. It's really actually close to C470. We're in the Conifer area and great location.
Yeah, it is a beautiful plot of land.
Yeah.
Truly.
Very private. And another thing we have to show you, as you can see here, is this is kind of a driveway, but not really.
Yeah.
So you have to excavate.
Right.
And because this is really a steep grade,
Yes.
you actually need to excavate. Like you probably cut in over here and make it a not as steep.
Yeah. Try and level it out a little.
Yeah, you do.
So you're not just doing this
a
giant
longer,
decline.
yes, a longer drive that's not as steep.
Right.
But that's going to entail cutting down all these trees.
Yep.
Making the ground level for the driveway
Right.
to go in.
Right.
That costs a lot of money. And then also, like, there's no flat spot. We're in the mountains here.
Right.
So you're also going to have to pay to excavate to make a flat space to put your house.
Right.
So excavation, power lines, wells, septic.
Yeah. It's a lot of things.
But we'll show you around. Okay, so one of the reasons that this plot of land, we call this improved land versus unimproved land. And you're like, what do you mean it's improved? It's improved because there is actually a well that's already been dug here on this land. So that takes away the fear of, can I get a well permit? Is there water? How much is that going to cost me? So that's why this land is $450 for 10 acres, is because that is already eliminated for you. Now, one more thing I do want to point out, we're on 10 acres, which is a good size of land. The road is up there about 100 yards. So the other thing you got to think about is it'd be super easy to build, like this is more of a leveled area right here to build your house. As you can see over here, it kind of drops off. So you wouldn't want to build your house there. You'd more put it here for excavation purposes. But another thing to think about on costs, if you are buying a piece of land like this, you probably don't want your house right on the road. This is there's not a lot of other houses up here, but you probably still don't want your house, right on the road. But the further you bring your house, the longer your driveway has to be. So again, more excavation, more trees cut down, more pavement put in, more roadway, more snow clearing that you're responsible for. So just things to think about. But it also obviously would be better. I don't know if you can see, they have like a primitive, like they've been camping up here or whatever. Like down there would be a great place to put your house because you're totally surrounded by trees and you can't even see probably the house from the road, which is what a lot of people want. So more things to think about. Okay, couple more things. In terms of zoning, most mountain properties like this are zoned A2, R1. Some, like the mining claims, are M1, which is all residential or agricultural, which means you can have like livestock, like horses or donkeys, goats, chickens, all those things. Another thing to think about if you do have horses, to make sure that your well can handle that kind of water, or the amount of water needed for horses and livestock or watering crops and things like that. A lot of wells are just residential wells for household use only. So that's another thing that you need to make sure you research into if that's a deal breaker for you. Also, the size of your septic system, which again is your waste system, is dependent upon the number of bedrooms in the house you build. So if you build a 3-bedroom house, you need to have an engineer comes out and decides all this. You do not get to decide all this. You actually have to hire an engineer to come out, draw all these plans for you based on the size of your house. So they come out, they draw how big you need of your septic system in order for the house. And then if you were to build, like add on to the house, you're technically supposed to increase the size of your septic system. I mean, if you do a significant add-on. And definitely if you were to build another house or an ADU, things like that, you can get yourself in trouble if you don't have the right permitting and the right size, septic system and things from the counties. So we hope this helps. If you guys are interested in buying land here in Colorado, it is a great place to do it, and building your dream home is something we can help you with. Go over all these logistics of land, making sure that you're protected in buying the right piece of land for you.
Hope you join us on the next one.
Bye.